Hello and welcome to Blush, the world's first wellness show that's actually entertaining. I'm Hiva and I quit law so I can help you look and feel your best. Together, we get into food, nutrition, all the latest wellness trends, but we also laugh, get silly, drop a few F-bombs, and go on a million tangents. So if that sounds like your vibe, we're about to be best friends.
Hi and happy Tuesday. The printer still isn't working, so I'm going to be using my phone, which I fucking hate doing, but it is what it is. So I'm actually about to go out of town. I'm actually way pre-recording this. So we're about to go out of town for 2 weeks. So I've been pre-recording episodes. And as I told you guys before, I haven't been feeling very well. So it really has been a bit of a challenge. But that's not my point. Oh, I guess I just haven't had really the time or the space or the energy when dealing with everything else to also investigate the printer. But when I get back in town, we're going to be out of town for 2 weeks. When I get back in town, I'm really going to get to the bottom of this printer business because I really miss using the cards. I miss you. Is that a weird thing to say? It's not. I act like usually there's back and forth in these episodes and I get to actually catch up with you, which I understand isn't literally the case. I can't hear you talking back to me in a technical sense, but I can feel it. And I feel like I've been distant a little bit. It's not you, it's me. It really is just because I haven't been feeling well. I feel like honestly, I've been on a bit of a journey. So in May is when I got that family friend's cancer diagnosis and I emotionally kind of lost it. And then I started binge eating, which is something I haven't done in years. And then that threw off, I suspect that threw off some of my hormones, both sex hormones and more of the endocrine. Technically all hormones are endocrine. That's what the endocrine system is. What I meant was both sex hormones and non-sex hormones. That's what I meant. Not, it's like saying I can't even think of a good analogy. It's like saying both banana and fruit. It's okay, banana's a type of fruit, Anyway, so yeah, and now I'm just kind of not even rebuilding. I'm not even at rebuilding yet. I'm just out here figuring my life out. I would like to extend a massive thank you to my next door neighbor who has decided to take a little set break from pretending to be Diplo so that we can record here today without me losing my fucking mind. Last night, I don't know what the fuck went on. This shit went on. And it went on until I got up to get ready for solid core. It was happening while I was in solid core. Okay, this party, I am officially such a big loser that I'm in my morning workout class when other people are still partying from the night before. I mean, sit with that for a minute. That's how fucking old and losery I am. But I just want to say my solid core class is at 7:50 a.m. It's not like it's a 5 a.m. class. It's practically 8 a.m. Okay. I think the more interesting thing is the people who are partying this much. I mean, when they say New York is the city that never sleeps, that has not been my experience of New York. I nearly said of Nicole. I've just fully lost the plot here. That really has not been my experience of New York. Not because... but primarily because I didn't live here that long before the pandemic hit. And then it really kind of everything started closing early during the pandemic. And then it really hasn't quite bounced back. But now I see it truly is the city that never sleeps. And I feel like I'm not taking enough advantage of it, probably because I like to sleep, What an unfortunate thing for me that I like to sleep because I'm really missing out on all those shenanigans in the nighttime hours. But maybe one night I will forgo sleep and maybe my new neighbor will invite me over to what I can only assume is a drug den that he's running next door. By the way, if by some very bizarre twist of fate, he ends up listening to this podcast. I can't even imagine how that could possibly happen. The way, like, I'll have to move. Like, we will have to move. There is actually no other option but for us to move if he listens to this. But honestly, I feel like I've talked shit about a lot of, oh, no, I really haven't. I don't have that much interaction with any of my neighbors. Wait, there's one neighbor I really want to talk shit about, but unfortunately that neighbor could listen. It's actually not someone who's in my building. I will say that. I know a few people, more than one, on my street. So it's someone who's on my street. Should I just do it? Should I just do it? They could listen. No, they really could listen. And what I have to say is really bad. Like, I could be sued for saying this. Like, it's really bad. I'm not like, no, not today. I'm really not in the mood for lawsuits today. I'm already battling my health. I do not need to battle deranged neighbors. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. I'm really hoping these 2 weeks away will be a bit of a reset. I often do tend to feel better when I go out of town. I don't know if that means that there's some kind of like toxic infestation inside of this apartment that constantly makes me sick, or if it's just like the fresh air of travel or something. I don't fucking know, but I do often tend to feel better when I do leave town. So maybe that'll be the key to me feeling better this time around. I don't know. We'll see. We'll all find out together in real time. But I'm excited, I think. And you know what? It's not that I just go away and I instantly feel better. Usually the beginning of the trip, like the first half of the trip, I progressively feel worse and worse and worse. And then the second half of the trip, I feel better. But this one is an exciting one because oftentimes when we go away, when Ozzy's working, we'll go a week early and do our own thing. And then the second week is the week that Ozzy's working. And I just like kind of fly solo while he's working, and then sometimes see him at night, but usually he's working. And by the second week, I'm feeling much better. But this one we're doing reverse. So the first week, Ozzy's working, so I can get all my sickness, deathbed situation out of the way. And then the second week, we can actually have fun together, and hopefully I'll be done like dying all the time. So we'll see. But I'm excited. It should be good. It should be good for me. And we're going to be within the United States. So I might hit up a different location of solid core. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to bring a few workout clothes. I don't usually work out a lot on vacation, if at all, but I might fucking do it. I don't know. We'll see what the fuck happens. Anyway, how are you? Oh, also, I just finished filming like one of the most exciting recipe series I've done to date. And by the time this comes out, I'll have dropped some of the recipes, not all of them. So I'll just tell you what it is now. So I had this idea of making a series of recipes that really kind of like bend and stretch our understanding of what is like food and what is dessert. And by food, I mean like appetizers, entrees, mains, you know, like savory dishes versus sweet dishes. But I hesitate to say savory or sweet because the truth is they're all kind of sweet, but there are things that are sweet that we have accepted to be like part of like mains and entrees, right? Like sweet potatoes, pumpkin, like these are corn, like these are sweet, but we're conceptually okay with eating them as our mains and appetizers, entrees, whatever, you know, like in savory dishes. So, but I'm still probably going to call it savory versus sweet. But this is like bending it a little bit further. So like we're all familiar with, you know, putting mango in your salad or even pineapple on pizza. You know, I've had an apple slice in a sandwich before, or like a Waldorf salad. Like we're all kind of used to playing, like bending a little bit between savory and sweet, but this is taking things to a new stratosphere. I'm talking like tomato ice cream. I'm talking chocolate covered, salty and smoky eggplant. Like, it's really bending and stretching. I mean, my goal, besides just like having fun and, you know, appreciating the spectacle, is to kind of bend our understanding of like what is food and what's dessert. Like, where does food end and dessert begin? Like, some of these things I really wanted to come up with things where you're like, I wanted everything to taste good, just to be clear. Like, the intention here was never to be like rage bait, like, oh my God, what's this crazy lady doing? You know, it was never going to be like gross stuff. Obviously all of it has to taste good, but I also wanted to create, like, put things out where you're like, okay, what section of a menu would this be? Like, where would this be served? Would this be served as an appetizer, as a main, or would it be served as a dessert? Like, where, like, if I wanted a dessert, would this satisfy my dessert craving, or would it feel more like I'm eating a main dish? And I'll actually tell you exactly where this idea came from, and I will call out his name. So Ozzy's friend Brendan and his now fiance were over for dinner one time. This was so many years ago, by the way. And I served this cauliflower dish that was like fucking delicious. It was roasted cauliflower, caramelized onions, or maybe roasted onions, maybe some beans or something. I'm trying to remember what else was in it. This was literally like 4 years ago. And I did like a tahini sauce and I think a drizzle of date syrup, something like that. And when he ate it, he was like, wow, this is so good. Like, what is this? Is it dessert? Is it like, you know, a main? Is it whatever? And that question, I mean, he was obviously joking. Like, it was served as, you know, a savory dish, even though it had sweetness from the date and the onion. He was joking, but that never left my head. And here we are 4 years later. And I was like, oh, this is kind of inspiring this new body of work for me. If you I mean, could I sound like a bigger douchebag, a new body of work? But yeah, I'm really fucking excited for the recipes to drop. Again, by the time this episode drops, a lot of the recipes, well, some of the recipes will have dropped. So yeah, I'm really fucking excited. My goal is for each one to get people to vote. Like, would you say that this is savory or sweet? Like, would you say that this is, you know, food, or is it dessert food? So yeah, that's kind of fun stuff that's going on with me. I can't think of much else. I guess we should like get into the fucking questions because it's the last Tuesday of the month. A nice little 5 Tuesday month we have here. Yeah, should I just get into it? I guess I'll fucking do it, huh? Okay. Excuse me. Let me find the questions. And there are some really good ones, by the way. Okay, I'll start with this one. Recently, I've had all these insecurities come up that I thought I had already worked through. What does that mean? Mercury retrograde? ? Okay, so this has happened to me a lot before, and it's happened to like every single person I know. And I know it can feel really like frustrating and confusing because you're like, okay, but I thought I had worked through this already. What does it mean? Like, have I not worked through this? Like, why is it coming up again? Like, I thought it only comes up if I hadn't healed it, like blah, blah. How are we back here? Like, it sometimes just feels like you're spinning in circles and you're like, great, I'm right back here. Like, what the fuck? But here's how I like to think of it. Imagine a spiral staircase. So if you look at a spiral staircase from the top, you see a circle. And so if you go around the staircase, at some point, if you're in the same like part of the circle, then if you were to look from the top, you're like, okay, I'm right back where I was. But if you zoom out and you take more of a three-dimensional view, you realize you're not exactly where you were. You're a whole fucking level higher, or maybe even more levels higher. So yes, if you look at it in a very two-dimensional way, sure, you're right back where you were. But once you take a 3D view of it, you'll see you've actually elevated, you've upgraded. And yes, you're going to pass that part of the circle with every level that you go higher. But each time you're hitting it at a higher level, or maybe you could say at a deeper level. I don't know if you're going down the stairs or up the stairs. I mean, this analogy is really starting to fall apart. But do you see what I'm saying? I do think that the same things that we often have worked through will come up again, but oftentimes it comes up in an entirely different way. And what it's asking of us is entirely different. Like what we're meant to be addressing and healing this time is different. Usually it's easier when it comes around the next time. Sometimes it's harder because the first time around you only worked through it in a certain aspect, like that's all that you had the capacity for at that time. But now that you've grown and you've gone stronger and you've healed through all these other things, you now have the capacity and the depth and the resilience to unpack this situation on an even deeper level. So yeah, I think this happens all the time to everyone. You're definitely not alone. And I think it's a really good sign. It means you've up leveled, you've gone up a level of the staircase and you're now back in the same place again. Like how beautiful for you. Congratulations. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Hopefully that answered that. I've heard that liquid calories don't count towards weight as much as solids. Is there any validity to that? Don't count towards weight as much as solid. Do you mean like gaining weight? As in, like, for example, if you were to drink a 400 calorie drink versus eating a 400 calorie meal, you wouldn't gain as much weight? Because if that's the question, as I understand it, and I think that is the question, I don't think that's true. In fact, there's some evidence to suggest that the opposite might be true, because oftentimes liquid calories are far less satiating than chewing foods are, because you often are missing fiber, not necessarily. I mean, I guess if it's a smoothie that is pretty liquid and you could have fiber in there. And you know, it's often less protein dense and often just lacking a lot of nutrients in general. So there is some evidence and some arguments out there that actually calorie per calorie, a liquid calorie will lead to more total calories consumed throughout the day, and therefore could make you not gain weight, but you know what I mean? Like either prevent you from losing weight, or potentially, if it's like setting you over that edge, make you gain weight, whatever the fuck it may be. But that's also quite contentious. Like I think there have been studies, but I don't think the studies are that robust, and they need to be repeated. And it obviously really fucking matters what the liquid is. Like if the liquid is, cane sugar juice, that's really different versus having a protein shake, you know what I mean? Which is probably going to be a lot more satiating. So I do think it really, really depends what it is. And the other thing is, I think that people tend to underestimate the amount of liquid calories that they're getting. And so they're often not factoring that in. So if anything, I think the opposite could be true. I think it's most likely not like super true. As far as I know, there aren't super, super robust studies that it can indicate one way versus another way. But as far as I know, there is no actual evidence that consuming calories in liquid format would support your weight goals more so than chewing those very same calories. But I will say that oftentimes when we're consuming more calories in a liquid format, we tend to feel thinner because it's not like we'll like pee it out faster and stuff like that. Like we're not having to digest it, so we're not getting bloated. There are factors like that to keep in mind. So maybe that's where this notion came from, or that's where this idea came from, or something to that effect. I don't know. There's often this like big confusion between how things affect our gut versus like how things affect actual fat and weight. And I'll explain exactly what I mean. So when I was in law school, I was really close to this girl who had a history of having had an eating disorder. And I told her that I would take laxatives because I actually I also had an eating disorder, but I actually genuinely had like serious constipation issues. By the way, Sam is passing through, and she's doing such a good job of like climbing over and under all the wires. It's like is it in the Matrix where they break into a building and there's like no, it's in Ocean's 8, right? The first Ocean's movie, where they do training for like getting into the bank vault or the casino vault or whatever, and there's casino, like there's no bank in the Ocean's movies, right? They're literally robbing a casino. That's the whole premise of the fucking movie. But I think they're in the vault or something, and there's like these security laser lights that are beaming in all these different angles, and they do like a trial run of getting like over and under the they find a way to disable the lights. Am I thinking of a different movie? What the fuck am I talking about? Now that I think about it, I think this might be a far older movie. Is it like Mission Impossible or something? Anyway, that's basically what she was doing. Okay. So in law school, so this girl I was friends with, she was like, yeah, but like laxatives speed up your metabolism, right? And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, laxatives speed up your metabolism. I was like, no, like, what are you talking about? Why would laxatives speed up your metabolism? Like, I don't even see a logical connection here. And she's like, no, because like a lot of girls with eating disorders take laxatives. And I was like, yeah, not because it speeds up your metabolism, but because like when you shit your brains out, you physically feel smaller for like 5 minutes. And that's why it's not actually like even a fat loss thing. It's just that like literally anyone who's had diarrhea knows, like, that's why I'm constantly striving to get diarrhea. That's why I'm out in the streets licking the sidewalk, you know? Just trying to shit my brains out and feel snatched for 5 minutes. No, but like that's what it is. So I do feel like there's a lot of conflating of that in society, if that makes sense. Okay, let's just move right along before I say more weird toxic stuff. I'm just kind of going through these in order at this point. What are the best vegan egg substitutes? Okay, this really depends on what you're trying to do. So because eggs are actually like truly kind of magical when you think about it, like all the various things that eggs do, it's insane how much eggs do for us, right? Like eggs can give rise in a baking situation. Eggs can be binding in certain other baking situations. We eat eggs hard boiled, we have scrambled eggs, we have frittatas, we have quiche. There's so many different uses of eggs. So I'm just going to kind of run through it. So if you're looking to use eggs as some kind of binder to make things like stick together, like for example, do meatballs use eggs? Or like meatloaf or something like that, or even like pancakes or something to that effect. Like my understanding is, or a lot of baked goods like cake a little bit to a certain extent, the role of eggs in those scenarios is more so to bind the ingredients together so they don't separate. So in those types of settings, something like a mashed banana, applesauce, a quote unquote chia egg, or a quote unquote flax egg, which is just chia seeds or flax seeds mixed with water to create a bit of a gel, those tend to do a really good job. But if you want something where the eggs are creating aeration. I don't know if aeration is the right word. They're creating volume. Like there's like a whipped situation, like a meringue, for example, or egg whites in a cocktail. For those things, aquafaba is really good, which is the liquid that's inside chickpea cans. So if you whip that, that tends to do a really good job of mimicking whipped egg whites. If you want like a hard boiled egg type situation, it kind of varies. I mean, I think tofu can do a really good job, especially in something like an egg sandwich, like an egg salad sandwich type situation. I think just like mashing tofu with the other ingredients tends to do a pretty good job. I also have a vegan soft boiled egg recipe for my ramen recipe that I highly recommend. So for something like that. If you want to do scrambled eggs, as you know from last month's episode of Blush Kitchen, I've really been experimenting and playing with those types of recipes. And I do think that tofu plus fat is the best substitute for that. And then if you want something like a frittata or a quiche or something to that effect, I think tofu plus like a chickpea flour batter tends to do a good job for those scenarios. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if not. Okay. I had a bunch of questions about creatine. I'm going to handle 2 of them because they're kind of quick. The first one, I got this question in a lot of varieties. I've started taking creatine per your recommendation, but I'm gaining weight. What do I do? You're probably not gaining weight. It's probably water retention. Until the creatine fully saturates your muscles, which takes about a month if you're taking the regular maintenance dose of creatine. If you do a big loading phase, which some people do so that it saturates faster, then it does saturate faster, like in a week or 2, but the bloating will be more intense. But basically, until it saturates the muscle, it just can create a little bit of like water retention under the skin. So you'll kind of look like sometimes the way you do leading up to your period. Sometimes it's a lot more extreme. For some people, it's negligible or not really there. As soon as the creatine fully saturates your muscle, it completely dissipates. Just ride it out for a bit. Like, don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. Now, is it possible that you've just gained weight? Sure, but that certainly wouldn't be caused by the creatine. There's just like not one shred of evidence to suggest that creatine increases your appetite or like makes you eat more. Like we just have not seen that ever. So don't even stress about that. And yeah, I would recommend doing nothing. Just wait. Just be patient. Like you can like ramp up the saunas a little bit or something, but I don't even think it makes a huge difference. I would just wait it out. Don't worry about it. The next creatine question I wanted to get to, should I take creatine before or after my workouts? It actually doesn't matter. So that's not how creatine works. It's not like caffeine, for example, which I'd recommend having before your workout because it'll fuel you so you have more energy for your workout. But then the half-life of caffeine is pretty short and it leaves your system. Creatine is not like that. Creatine is more like a hormonal birth control, for example, or an SSRI, in that it not like in its function, it will not prevent pregnancies, nor it actually did help my depression, but you know, it's not like it's not, what's the word? Jesus Christ. It's not like actually prescribed for depression. So I shouldn't say that, but, the analogy I meant to use is that you have to take it every single day for a while for it to even have an effect. And then so long as it's in your system, it'll keep working. Like, for example, if you're taking hormonal birth control, it's not like you take it before or after sex to prevent pregnancy. You take it every single day to prevent pregnancy. Same with an SSRI. Like, you don't just like pop one if you've had a stressful day and hope it takes the edge off. Like, it's something that has to consistently stay in your system for it to work. And same thing with creatine. So it doesn't really matter when you take it. And unlike hormonal birth control, my understanding is you don't really have to take it the same time of day every day, but it might be helpful to take it at the same time of day every day if it'll help you remember to take it every single day, because that's the most important thing, just that you're taking it every single day. Okay, I love this question so much. Hi, I'm graduating this semester and doing to live by myself for the first time. What? I think it's meant to say going to live by myself for the first time. Congratulations. How amazing. It's the best. My apartment has a tiny kitchen, but I really want to cook and I want to make all your amazing recipes. I love you. Thank you so much. What items do I need versus which are superfluous? Okay. So I actually think that I'm pretty good at giving like minimal kitchen advice. My first apartment in New York City had a kitchen the size of like a motel room kitchen, like truly. That is what I was working with. I had an oven and a microwave and a tiny stovetop, which is a shocker. And like the smallest amount of counter space and cabinet space you could like even conceive of. Here's what I think you actually need. And you kind of don't need anything else. You need one good chef's knife. Get one really good chef's knife. You don't need a fucking knife block with 20 different types of knives. If you have just one good chef's knife, that'll do for any fucking thing you want to cut. Melons, tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, squashes, it doesn't matter. So long as you have one good chef's knife, it doesn't need to be serrated, because if it's a good chef's knife, it'll cut through anything. I really like, what's the brand called? Shun, S-H-U-N, Shun, I think, or is it Shen? No, I think it's Shun. I really like that one. And then there's one, I like a Japanese chef's knife personally. Hold on. There's one that Ozzy got me. One of my first birthdays that we were together. Yeah, Shun was the one I was thinking of, by the way. Okay, I can't think of it. It's a brand that starts with a K, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Shun is really, really good. But yeah, like a really nice, like spend like over $100 on a knife. Ideally, you'll never need another knife. Also, when you're spending that much on a knife, they usually will sharpen it for free for you. So that's like an amazing resource to have. One good cutting board. I am partial to wood cutting boards. I guess you can do whatever you want. But yeah, like one nice, thick, good cutting board, and then get some good wood oil and take really good care of it. That is something I do not do, but you can be better than me. I would have one really good blender. One really, really, really good blender. I highly recommend the Vitamix. I'm yet to find anything that comes even close to doing what the Vitamix can do. Now, you don't need the more advanced models of the Vitamix. If I were to buy a new Vitamix right now, I would get the most basic model. You can get it refurbished. You can get it secondhand. Like, there are ways to get them for pretty fucking cheap, but like, you're just not going to find anything that can do as much. And then as far as like cookware and bakeware, this is my recommendation for like a very minimalist kitchen. I would get one cast iron skillet and one Dutch oven. So the Dutch oven you'll be able to use for like boiling water to make pasta and cooking rice and things like that. And then the skillet, like, you know, you can use however you use skillets, but the benefit of these two is that they also can go in the oven, so they can double as bakeware, which is really going to substantially reduce your thing. So like bread is made in Dutch ovens, you know, like the skillet, like it's just amazing. And then a veggie peeler. It takes up virtually no space. You can use it like a mandolin. You can use it to make like carrot ribbons and cucumber ribbons and things like that. You also can use it to actually peel. I like a Y-shaped peeler. I think they work better. And I think that's all you need for a really minimalist kitchen. Oh, you know what? You need a sieve. You need like one sieve to strain things, you know, if you're cooking pasta, to dump it out, to, let's say, like, you squeeze a lemon. I mean, if we're going so minimalist that you don't have like a citrus reamer or a citrus squeezer, you can, you know, use it so the seeds don't get in, something like that. But even that's kind of niche. You could, you know, strain tea with it, etc. That's kind of all you need. That's all you actually truly need. I would get those things and then see, like, do I actually need something more? And you can always slowly add to. Okay, let's do 2 more questions. Hi, I have these tiny bumps all over my forehead. They are not whiteheads, not blackheads. They aren't red either. I can only see them when the light hits a certain way. Do you know what it is, and how can I get smoother skin? I actually do, because I had the same thing. And I had a friend who told me that it was like a type of fungal infection. It's not. That's different. I think the fungal infection has actual whiteheads, but I know exactly what you're talking about, because I remember I noticed it in 2020 where the light hit my forehead a certain way. And I was like, wait, what are all these like there were like thousands of tiny, almost microscopic bumps all over my forehead. But I never noticed them because the light had to catch it a certain way. So it's called subclinical acne. And it's literally just like dried skin creating these little bumps. That's it. It's not even like bacteria or anything like that, is my understanding. And there's one thing I did to get rid of it. I have to find the product, but it's this toner by Paula's Choice. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly what it's called. It's in a gray bottle. Okay, it's called Paula's Choice Skin Perfecting 2% BHA liquid salicylic acid exfoliant, facial exfoliant for enlarged pores, wrinkles, and fine lines, suitable for blackhead prone skin, fragrance free. It is so fucking good. Just put a bit of that toner after you wash your face on a cotton pad, rub it on your forehead. The bumps will disappear within days. It's crazy how fucking well that thing works. It is still to this day the most effective thing I found for that exact problem. Okay. Last question. My new girlfriend is vegan. Congratulations. And she's meeting my family over Thanksgiving. I want to cook some vegan dishes for her so she has good options. Any of your recipes that you would recommend? Yes, all of them. All of them. Look through my Thanksgiving recipes from last year. They're all fucking like flames emoji. Maybe my favorite, I would say, are the truffle potatoes. They're really fucking good. But also I'm going to do new Thanksgiving recipes this year. So I think the plan right now is November's Blush Kitchen is going to be brand new Thanksgiving recipes, and I'll kind of roll them out a bit on social media throughout November too. So I think that's the plan. Be on the lookout for those, but also look at my recipes from last year. I would make sure that she has one side dish or more, but at least one that's completely vegan and good for her. Something that can serve as a main. So last year I put out these like cannellini ball things that were intended to be a substitute for the main dish. Cranberry sauce tends to be vegan, so I feel like that should be fine, although there isn't even much to eat cranberry sauce with when you're vegan. And then I would make sure that there's a dessert option for her. So I think last year the dessert recipe that I put out was an apple pear crumble or something with miso vanilla ice cream. That shit was so fucking good, or something to that effect. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was really fucking good though. Yeah, definitely check that out. This year I'm gonna have a whole new dessert recipe, so be on the lookout for those recipes because they will be out far before Thanksgiving. Okay, you guys, I love you. We're not going to do foods that make you blush today because honestly, I'm not feeling well and I'm trying to conserve my energy, and it was hard enough to be here, but I love you so much. Thank you so much for choosing to tune in and spend this time with me. How fucking lucky am I to have you in my life? And yeah, there's a little outro. Follow the instructions, please, because it really helps the show. We'll chat next week. Mwah.
If you loved that episode as much as I hope you did, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing, and check out some past episodes while you wait for the new one to drop next week. And until next week, make sure to stay cunty out there.